Hello, it's Jay here and welcome to another tutorial. In our last video we'd finished work on the main menu, and in this video we're going to start work on our main scene. And this is what we'd got. Entered a cube for testing purposes. We can go ahead and delete that, and we can also delete the main camera because we'll be using the one attached to the FPS controller. Now I'm going to leave the directional light in for now, and in my project I'm actually going to use a flashlight to illuminate the scene, but I'm going to leave the directional light active for now while we create our terrain, but please note I will be disabling it at a later date. And another word of note, I will also be using a pre-made pack for my terrain, but I'm going to go through the basics of terrain creation because I know a lot of you will be wanting to create your own. So let's go ahead and do that now. The first thing I need to do is, because I will be disabling the directional light, I don't want any light maps created by it, so we'll come to Window, Lighting, and we'll just turn off the auto baking of light maps, and we can just close that for now. And then we'll come to Game Object, 3D Object and Terrain. Okay, we have a terrain in our scene. Now what I'm going to do now is come to this cog icon, and as you can see we have terrain width and length. Now what you set these to will depend on what you want from your final project. If you want a game where the enemy is tightly packed into small areas that the player has to encounter, you'll probably want to leave that number at a low value. But if you want to add exploration to your scene, you'll probably want to increase this number quite substantially. And for now I'm going to have mine at 1000 by 1000. And once we have that in place, we need to make sure we have our standard assets imported. If you don't, come to Assets, Import Package, and you'll need Characters and Environment. And we'll come into the characters, the first person, prefabs, and we'll drag and drop the FPS controller in there. And we'll just press F to zoom in. And as we can see, the controller's halfway through the floor, so let's raise that up a bit. There we go, and we'll hit play. So the controller's working, but we can't really see anything at the moment because we've added no texture to our scene. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we'll come back to terrain, we'll come to the little paintbrush icon, and we'll click Add Texture. And in our standard assets, in Environment, we'll come to Terrain and Surface, and let's just add Grass and Rocky, and we'll hit play and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, the texture is far too large for the terrain, so we need to adjust that. So again, Edit Textures, this time we'll hit Edit, and we'll change the size to something like 3 by 3, and we'll hit Apply, and we'll hit play again. Okay, the size looks about right at that. Obviously you can spend more time tweaking that value, and you may have to use different values to myself depending on which textures you're using. And a word of note when it comes to textures, please bear in mind that the more graphically demanding your game will be, the less people will be able to play it. So if you use really high quality textures, only people with high performance PCs are going to be able to play your game. And this is something that you need to consider now before we progress further in this tutorial, is who are you aiming your game at? How many people do you want to be able to play that game? And of course, there's always more textures available on the asset store and various other places, so please, search around and try to find one that suits your project. And we'll come back to edit textures and edit again. And a word on bump mapping. Now, a bump map is a shader created from a material. And what it does, it improves the lighting effect on that particular surface. So let's assign this one, the mud and rocky, and we can see the texture assigned there. But if I add the bump map into the other slot, you can automatically see that makes a huge difference. Now, bump maps aren't that graphically demanding, at least for these surface textures. So if you have this available, it's something you may want to consider using. I'm actually just going to leave the original texture here for now. And I'm going to use this for the purposes of this demonstration. Now, another basic thing we need to add is skyboxes. Now, these are the ones from the old version of Unity, but again, please check the asset store to see which ones are available and which ones suit your project. I'm just going to go ahead, I've reopened the lighting tab. I'm just going to assign it into this top slot here, and we have the moonshine skybox now in our scene. Now, I know it looks strange at the moment because the directional light is lighting the floor as though it was daylight, yet we have a nighttime sky. But please bear in mind, as I said, we'll be disabling the directional light at a later date. So that will automatically fix that problem. And one last thing before we conclude this video is we'll add fog. And basically we add fog so we can break up this horizon line here. At the moment it looks pretty unnatural because we have such a straight and perfect line. And again, it's window and lighting, and we'll tick the fog here, and you can automatically see the difference that's made to the scene. I don't actually like that grey that much, so I'm going to click here and I'm just going to make it a little darker, and we'll come down a bit, and I think that's about right, and we'll hit play again, and as you can see it's just made that line a little bit softer. And again, please go ahead and read up about all these features on the Unity website, because there is a lot of documentation there that will really help you understand more. It's more in depth than I can go into in these short little videos, but it's a few tips to get you started, and we'll go through a few more things regarding terrain creation in the next few videos. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And until next time, bye for now.